Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Dear students, how are you? I hope you'd be fine. This is Cambridge Lower Secondary, Book 8. Today we are starting chapter number 4 regarding decimals. We have already done these sort of questions earlier a lot of times, so it's sort of a revision. Let's see what's required in the question, and we have to learn how to arrange them according to their size, how to compare the two decimals. It's very easy. You just need to understand the basic concept of decimals, and then it will become very easy to solve. Now we are provided with certain decimals in each group, and we have to write down these decimals in order of size, starting with the smallest. Always remember, students, that the rules for decimals is not exactly the same as the rules for whole numbers. For whole numbers, if the numbers are like 549, 206, 799, 591, we will simply count the number of digits, and then according to their size, according to their first digit, we will decide that which one would be greater and which one would be smaller. But when we talk about decimals, so in all these decimals, if the decimals are placed after the first digit, then we can say that all of these decimals can be compared easily. But if the decimals are like placed 5.49 and then 20.6 and then 7.99 and then 59.1. So in some cases, the decimal is right after the first digit, but in some cases, in the other ones, the decimal is not placed right after the first digit. It's after the two digits. So always remember, whenever you have to compare the decimals, you have to keep it like this. We will write 20.6 and 59.1 first, and then we will keep the other two as 5.49 and 7.99. So in the first place, we have to write down the decimal below decimal. Here you can see it's in a row. And then to make them equivalent, like to make them like decimals, we have to make their number of decimal places equals to each other. Like here we have two decimal places in these two numbers. So we will put 0 and 0 over here to make two decimal places in each of these numbers. Now we can compare the numbers very easily. We know that 20 and 59 are greater than 5 and 7. So these two numbers are greater and these two numbers are smaller. So out of 5 and 7, 5 would be smaller, 7 would be greater. So this one would be the smallest. This one would become second one. And then out of 20 and 59, 20 is smaller. So we will take it as third, and the last one would be the fourth one. But here in these questions, we are provided with like decimals where we have the number of decimal places after the decimal is equal. So we will simply keep them like this: 2, 5, 5 and 7. So we will write it like this: 2.06, 5.49, 5.91 and 7.99. We already know that 2 is smallest, 5 is the greatest, then comes 5 and 5 each. So since 5 and 5 are same, so what are we supposed to do over here? We will now compare the first decimal place, that is the digit after 5 over here. 4 is smaller, so it will come first, and 9 is greater, so 9 will go on the third place. So the first one is 2.06, second one is 5.49, then comes 5.91, and 7.99 is the largest. Okay, now let's see in part B. We have been provided with 3.09, 2.87, 3.11, 2.55. So we have to compare 2.87 and 2.55 first. Among these two, 5 and 2 and 2 are same. So we will compare 8 and 5. 5 is smaller, so it will come first. Then comes 2.87. Now we will compare 3.09 and 3.11. So since 3 is the same, the whole part is equal to each other. So we will compare the first decimal place. 0 is smaller than 1. So this one comes first and this one at the end. So the sequence would be 2.55, 2.87, 3.09, 3.11. Then we have 12.1, 11.88, 12.01, 11.82. So first we will compare 11.88 and 11.82. Here you will find that 11 is the same in both of them, and then the first decimal place is also equal to each other. So we have to compare 8 and 2, the hundredth place over here. So since 2 is smaller, it would become the smallest, and 8 is larger than 2, so it would become second. And then comes 12.1. Here comes the one we were discussing earlier, that out of 12.1 and 12.01, which one would be greater? Since the number of decimal places is not equal to each other over here, so first of all, we will make it equal to each other, like the like decimals. So when we will add a 0 with 1, it will become 10, and here comes 0, 1. So 12 and 12 are equal, so we will compare 1 and 0 over here, and 0 is smaller than 1, so this would come before 12.1. So 12.1 is larger than 12.01. Do not get confused. Many of the students get confused over here, and they write 12.1 would be smaller than 12.01, because here we have 4 digits and here we have 3 digits. It does not matter in decimals that how many digits are given. What matters is if we keep the decimal below decimal, which number comes first and which one goes later. Now in the last one we have 9.09, 8.9, 9.53, and 9.4. So three of the digits have 9 as the whole number. Whole part is 9. So this one would become the smallest. Not because it has 2 digits, because the first digit of this number is 8, which is smaller than 9, and all the 3 digits have first digit 9. Okay, so we have kept all the decimals below decimal. So to make them like decimals, we will add a 0 over here. It would become 8.90, the first one, and then we will compare 9, the other three. We'll now remove this one. Now we have to compare 9.09 with 9.53 and 9.40. So what are we supposed to do? We will now compare the first decimal place. Here it is 0, here it's 5, here it's 4. So 0 is the smallest, it will come on the second place. 4 is greater than 0, here comes 4, and this one is the largest among all. So 9.53 would be the greatest. So in this order, we are supposed to write 8.9, then 9.09, then 9.40, and then 9.53 would be the greatest. Okay, students, I hope this one helps. In the second question, we have to compare the decimals, and to compare the decimals, we have to do the same thing we have done in the previous question. Like we will compare the first digit, then the second digit, and the third digit. But before that, we have to keep the decimal below decimal. But since in all these numbers, we have one digit before the decimal, so it's very easy to compare them. Like between 4.23 and 4.54, 4 and 4 are same, so we will compare 2 and 5. 2 is smaller, so 4.23 is smaller, and 4.54 is greater. Then 6.71 and 6.03. 6 and 6 are same, so we'll compare 7 and 0. 0 is smaller, so 6.71 is greater. Then 0.27 and 0.03. Don't get confused that here it is 27 and here it's 3. So 3 would be smaller. No, it would be smaller, not because here it has only 2 digits, but because we will compare the first decimal place, which is 2 and 0. So 2 would be greater and it will become greater. Okay. But in this case, if it would have been like 0.27 and 0.3, then which one would be greater? Most of the students will say that 0.27. No, 0.27 is not greater, because we will make them like decimals by placing 1 0 over here to make the two decimal places equal in each of them. And then we will compare 2 and 3. 2 is smaller, so 0.3 would become greater. Okay. Then we have 27.9. The same thing comes over here. 27.9 and 27.87. Here we have 3 digits and here we have 4 digits. But still 27.9 is greater. Why? Because the 2 digits in the whole are similar. So we'll compare the first decimal places. Here it's 9 and 8. 9 is greater than 8. Therefore 27.9 would be greater than 27.85, because we have to put a 0 over here to make them like decimals. Next, we have 8.55 and 8.508. So we will compare it the same way. 8.55 and 8.508. These two are same. These two are same, so we will compare the hundredth place, which is 5 and 0. Since 0 is smaller, so 8.55 would become greater. So how can you say that? Because here we have 3 digits and here we have 4 digits. So we will make them like decimals by placing a 0 over here. So in both of them, we will have 3 decimal places. Okay, and next we have 5.055 and 5.505. So that's the very simple thing. Here we have 4 digits in all and 3 decimal places in both of them. So we will compare the first places first. Both are 5. So we'll compare the next digit, that is 0 and 5. 0 is smaller, so this one would become greater automatically. Okay, this is how we have to do these type of questions. Now let's move to the next one. So here in the next question, we have to use the preferred method to write these decimals numbers in order of size, starting with the smallest. So in the first one, we have 23, 23, 23, 23. All of them are same. So we will write them down like this: 23.66, 23.592, 23.6, 23.605. So in the first place, what are we supposed to do? We will complete the decimals having the same number of decimal places. So we will add a 0 with 66 and 2 zeros with 6. So we will have 3 decimal place in each of them. 23 is the same in all of them. So we'll compare the first decimal place. Here it's 6, 6, 6. So this one would become the first. Then we will compare the second decimal place, 6, 0, 0. So this one would become the last, the fourth one. And now we will compare the last decimal places, 0 and 5. So this one would become second and this one would become third. So how are we supposed to write it down? 23.59, then 23.600, then 23.605, and then 23.66. Right? Now the next one. Here it says 0.107, 0.08, 0.1, 0.009. So we'll add a 0 over here and 2 zeros over here. Now it's easy to compare. All of the whole parts are 0. So we'll compare the first decimal place, 1, 0, 1, 0. So these two would be smallest. Okay, so we'll compare 0.08 with 0.00. Here it's 8 and here it's 0. So this one would be the first one and this one would become second. Then we will compare the rest of the two, 0.107 and 100. So it would be 0, 0 same and then 7 and 0. 0 is smaller, so this would come third and this would be the fourth one. So the answer would be 0.009, 0.08, 0.1 and 0.107. Here comes the third one, 6.725, 6.78, 6.007, 6.71. So we will write a 0 over here. We will compare all the 4 digits. Here the 6 are the same in all of them. So we will compare the first decimal place. Here it's 7, 7, 7. We'll leave them and this would become the first one. Then we will compare the other three, 6.725, 6.780, and 6.710. So we'll now compare the 100 place, 2, 8, and 1. Among these three, 1 is the smallest, so this one will come second. 2 is larger than 0, and 8 is the largest. So the order would be like this: 6.007, 6.71, 6.725, and 6.780. That's all. And next, in the last part, we have 11.02, 11.032, 11.002, and 11.1. So we'll put 2 zeros over here and here a 0, and then we will compare them. All of these numbers are 11 point something. So these three would be smaller, and this one, here we have 1, so it would become the fourth one. Now we will compare 2, 3, and 0. Among these three, 0 is the smallest. This one would become first. 2 comes later. It's second. And this one would be the third. So we are supposed to write it like this: 11.002, then 11.02, 11.032, and 11.1. Okay, students, I think this is now easy for you to solve. Okay, now the next question involves the difference in the units. So always remember, students, I have repeated this thing a lot of times earlier as well. In mathematics, you cannot solve two numbers having two different units until and unless you make them similar. Okay, so here in this question, you will find that we have two quantities in two different units. So to compare them, first of all, we have to make them similar. Like in the first one, it's 6.7 liters and 670 milliliters. We know that 1 liter is equals to 1000 milliliters. So first of all, we will multiply 6.7 with 1000 to convert it into milliliters, and it would become 6700 milliliters. Then we will compare 6700 milliliters with 670 milliliters, and we know that 670 is less than 6700, so this one would become greater, although it seems to be smaller, but still it's greater. Okay, now in part B, we are provided with tons and kilograms. We know that 1 ton is equals to 1000 kilograms. So 4.05 tons is equals to 4.05 into 1000, and that's 123 4050 kilograms. So which one is greater, 4050 or 4500? Obviously 4500 is greater. So we will write this sign over here. Next, we have part C, 0.85 kilometers and 850 meters. So 0.85 kilometers, we will have to multiply it with 1000 to make it similar to meters. It would become 850 meters. So it means the two are equal to each other. And then next we have 0.985 in and 0.985 meters. And we know that 1 meter is equals to 100 centimeters. So we will multiply it by 100. It will become 98.5. So which one is greater, 98.5 or 985? Of course, 985 is greater. And then it's 14.5 centimeters and 145 millimeters. So we know that 1 centimeter is equals to 10 millimeters. So we have to multiply it with 10. It will become 145. So it means both are equal to each other. And then 2300 grams and 0.23 kilograms. 0.23 times 1000 equals 123, 230 grams. So 230 grams is less than 2300 grams. Here, again, we have to do the same thing. 4.5 liters and 2700 milliliters. So 4.5 liters is equals to 4500 milliliters. And we have to compare it with 2700. So which one is greater? Of course, 4500. Then 0.45 tons. 0.45 multiplied by 1000 is equals to 450 kilograms. So out of 450 and 547, which one is greater? 547. Next, we have 3.5 centimeters. So in millimeters, it would be 35 millimeters because 1 centimeter is equals to 10 millimeters. So it would be 35 and we have to compare it with 345. So 345 is greater. In the next one, we had 0.05 kilograms. So we have to multiply it by 1000. It would become 1, 2, 3, 50 grams. And here we have 550. So 550 is greater. And last of all is 7800 meters and 0.8 kilometers. So 0.8 multiplied by 1000 is equals to 800. And 7800 is greater. Next, we have 0.065 meters and 6.7 meters. So 1 meter is equals to 100 centimeters. We will multiply it by 100. It will become 6.5 centimeters. And 6.5 centimeters is less than 6.7. So this one would become greater. Now let's do the next question, and then we will do the remaining questions inshallah in the next video. Here it says write these measurements in order of size starting with the smallest. So in some cases you will find that the units are same and the units would be different. So first we have to convert them all in the same units. If we talk about 2.3 kgs, it would be 2300 grams. Next we have 780 grams. Then we have 2.18 kgs, which would be 2180 grams, and last of all would be 1950 grams. So out of these quantities, you can see that 780 grams is the smallest, and then 1950 would be the second, 2180 would be the third, and 2300 would be the last. Okay, next we have 5.4 centimeters, 12 millimeters. So 5.4 centimeters is equals to 54 millimeters multiplied by 10. Then comes 12 millimeters. Then 0.8 is equals to multiplied by 10 is equals to 8 millimeters. And last of all is 9 millimeters. So out of these quantities, we already know that 8 is the smallest. Then comes 9. Then comes 12. And then 54. Right? Here we have the third one, 12 meters. So 1 meter is equals to 100 centimeters. It would become 1200 centimeters. In the next one, we have 650 centimeters. Then 0.5 meters is equals to 0.5 into 100 is equals to 50 centimeters. And then 53 centimeters. So out of these four quantities, this one would be the first. Here comes second, then third, and then fourth. Okay, students? Do not get confused in these quantities. You just have to convert them into similar unit and then you have to solve them. Then we have 0.55 liters and 1 liter is equals to 1000 milliliters. So it would become 550 milliliters. Next one is 95 milliliters and 0.9 liters equals 900 milliliters. And then 450 milliliters. So in all these quantities, 95 is the smallest among all. This one is the first one. Then comes 450. Then comes 550. And last one is 900. Okay, students, I hope it's now easy for you to understand. And then we have 6.55 kilometers, which is 6,550 meters. Next one is 780 meters. Then 6.4 kilometers is 6,400 meters. And then 1450 meters. This one is the first, second, third, and fourth. And last of all, 0.08 tons is multiplied by 1080 kilograms. Next we have 920 kilograms. Then 0.15 tons equals 150 kilograms and then 50 kilograms. So 50 is the smallest, then comes 80, then comes 150, and the last one is 920 kgs. I hope, students, that how to compare decimals and how to write them down in a sequence order of size, so it becomes clear to you. Still, if you have any sort of questions or queries, you can ask me in the comment section. Take care and do subscribe to my channel if you are new, and don't forget to share it with your friends. Allah